All right, everybody, welcome into the Pillow Talk edition of Pugs and Company. We do this each and every night, Thursdays through Sundays. Sundays through Thursdays, starting at 9. I'm distracted because I'm a little bit late getting started today. I apologize for that. I had to watch fucking Mavericks. Seriously. Don't get me started on the Dallas Mavericks at the moment. They were. This is called Pillow Talk. We do this every Sunday through Thursday, 9 p.m. until, well, honestly, whenever. We've been wrapping up about 10:30 or so now lately. But typically we shoot for 2 hours. We also do a high noon edition. That's a current events driven show that happens each and every day at, well, what do you think? High noon. It's topics. It's all the things that are trending, all the things that people are talking about. This one's a little bit looser. This one's a little bit more, I don't know, stupid, maybe would be the word you could use. Let's bring in the boys. Here we go. We got a full boat today. Look at this. He's back in sunglasses. Full boat. So, you know him during the day as E the Artist. But at night, he adopts the persona of sunglasses. And he ain't been with us in forever, but he's back today. And also, live from New Orleans, it's Parker. Look at Parker there. Oh, boy. Everybody's here. All right, so we got a good show. Hold on. I got to get some things set up here because I was watching the Mavericks choke dick.
Didn't they win?
No, they fucking blew it. Jesus. I don't want excuse my language, but I am telling you. Do you know what I gave up to watch that damn game today? I gave up the Facts of Life live on ABC. The network's been doing that. They've been taking like old sitcoms from the 70s, recasting them with modern actors and then putting it on live on primetime.
Is that what I saw Kevin Hart doing tonight? Because I was at the bar, like actually having a life, and I saw Kevin Hart doing something that looked live.
I don't know. What I guess they did Different Strokes and Facts of Life.
Man, I don't know what it was. He's supposed to be Gary Coleman or something. He ain't that short.
Dude, I didn't get it because I didn't, first of all, didn't even know it was a thing, but then I found out it was a thing just as it was starting. And I was like, oh, cool, I want to watch this. And I went, no. I got to watch the Mavs beat the Nets. I got to watch the Nets fall to second place in the East. I got to have my Bulls in first
place. And the
place.
Mavs lost?
The Mavs lost.
I thought they just won.
No, it was gross. E, were you watching the Mavs game? I know you were.
I wasn't. I was watching hockey.
What hockey game were you watching?
I was watching the Sabres.
Your Buffalo Sabres.
Buffalo. Yeah. Very cool. Dude, hey, can I talk to E for a second?
Sure.
All right, because E, I haven't talked to you. Thank you very much for letting me stay at your house while you weren't even there. Yeah, there's just no need for pugs here. I just want to tell you, like, how cool your house is, because it ain't the biggest, it ain't the baddest house in Highland Park, but it has
that shot.
No, it's not. It's not.
No, it's not at all. Like,
no,
come on,
it's
dude.
not a shot at all. Because look,
tiny.
Yeah, you don't want to win that game anyway. It's totally. The thing is like you have a very coolly designed house with like the curved walls, and
it's weird, isn't it? Like
it was artistic masterpiece.
Built
it's
in
an artistic masterpiece. What a house! What a house you have, E.
It was built in like 1932 or 38 by some famous architect. I had no idea.
Yeah, we looked it up. It was 38.
38. Mm-hmm.
I forgot the guy's name, but I don't think Pugs mentioned that you were thinking about knocking out that wall behind the fireplace and then opening up the living room with the dining room.
No. I'm gonna leave that wall, but I got to figure out something.
Good, because I disagreed with that decision that Pugs.
I think it's his mother-in-law had that idea. I think it was his mother-in-law who had all the designs for.
My mother-in-law wants to redo the kitchen. I don't know. We got to figure it out, but yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Dude, that what a fun house to have, so. You don't get to have like a giant castle or whatever, but that's about as cool as you can make. Because it turns
for 1930s, I'm like, that was like the Jetson house.
Yes,
1930.
You know what? Yes, that was the most futuristic thing they had in their mind in 1930, and that makes it really cool.
Any normal people would look at that house. They'd drive down the street, they'd look at that house, and they'd say that house was built in, I don't know, 1975, 1978.
Yes,
no, 1938.
Right.
Yeah. And so I really like the floor to ceiling windows that are just in the dining room.
Mhm.
It
Yeah,
kind of
the architect is known. He's the one who actually started using glass blocks back then, and he also had something to do with designing Fair Park, like the mid-century modern kind of design. Kind
I
of
would
weird.
yeah, that's about the same age as Fair Park. That's a good point. That's the same
Mhm.
dude, huh? Because that's one of the things I like about Fair Park is when you go to the Texas State Fair. Like, look, I'm from Tyler, where we have the East Texas State Fair, and it's sort of dipshitty. You know, you get to look at everyone's prize goats and pigs and stuff. But you go to the one in Dallas, and there's like these giant sort of Ayn Rand looking fountainhead columns, and
Mhm.
the pavilions where they have like a boat show and then a car show in the next one. And I can see that. It is the same sort of feel as your house, but there's not a whole lot of houses that even have a feel. You know, most houses are like, how can we maximize this amount of space for this floor plan and still get 4 bedrooms and 3 bathrooms squeezed into this crap? And your house kind of throws that to the wayside. It's like, yeah, we're going to take up a little space, but we're going to have a really cool swooping staircase that goes to the second floor. And it's going to be a curved wall that walks you around, and it really has a cool feel. It looks cool. It just feels cool being in it, and I love your house. Love your house.
Well, thank you. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
I mean,
we
you
need to do
didn't
some
build it.
remodeling, but once we get all that done, it'll be cool.
Oh, you need some better furniture, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure, for sure.
that's for
Right.
sure.
Yeah, that furniture's on its way out. It's bachelor pad furniture.
Uh, your dog tried to kill me, but that's
Yeah.
alright. It just bit the hard part at the end of my shoe, and that was enough interaction with your dog. Other than that, it was fine. It was fine.
Mhm.
Your dog chewed on my foot pretty good, though.
I don't know. She's like weird when it comes to other people at the house sometimes.
Well, here's the cool part is she came out and she jumped on Mason like he was a teddy bear, and then Pugs was trying to pull her away from me, and like she was nibbling at me. So I understand, like, if I had the ability to spend more time with the dog, it would probably be cool. But no.
Yeah, she was kind of tough on Ed early on too, but she got over it.
She is very, I've noticed she is extremely protect. I don't know how she is around Dom. You may have seen this, but she is very protective around the kids.
Yeah,
At
and
least from what I've
the insight I have for the people that are watching is Pug's room is smaller than you think, and the room that Amel's in is a lot bigger than you think.
What were you doing? You weren't in Emil's bedroom, did you? What?
Yeah, he
I
can
didn't
go up
do a
here
tour of
and
the
No,
house.
look
no,
in.
wait a second. Let's establish it. Did you go upstairs?
I
Yeah,
don't care if he
absolutely.
goes
Oh, okay.
upstairs.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know you went upstairs.
No, I wanted to go upstairs to
I
drop
don't
it.
go upstairs.
I didn't want to bomb out the downstairs, so I went upstairs to
Fart and poop and stuff
yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Oh,
I'm
hell.
a big dumb
Isn't
animal.
that
I understand. Yeah.
isn't that thoughtful? James wouldn't take a poop down where he needed to sleep, so he went upstairs where he was jet setting with the Rolling Stones and decided to lay waste to that part of the house.
Yeah, it would probably blow over by the time Emil got back, so I felt better upstairs
You
for
know, it
that.
was funny when you stayed over, I was just thinking, yeah, you sleep on the couch. The couch is fine. You be comfortable. And then I thought, oh no, wait a second. We've got the Ed wing
The
of
whole
the
Ed
house.
wing, you're right.
I forgot about the Ed suite
It
area
is. Yeah,
of the
there's a
house.
bedroom and a bathroom attached to it. It's like a mother-in-law suite. I could just rent that if times got tough.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. That's all it is.
Mhm.
All right, very good. So we've done that. Let's get
Wait,
into
what's the name of the architect on your house, Emil? Do we remember this?
Richard Meyer, I think maybe.
that. Sounds pretty good.
Right?
That sounds pretty close. Honestly, dude, I've been trying to find it the whole time that I've
Isn't
been
it like the
filing.
Rose House? Doesn't it have a name?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Rose House. Richard Meyer, I think.
It is the Rose House. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool because rarely do houses have names.
Mm.
Like there's a
Mhm.
house in like the country where I'm from. It's called the Bacon House, but that's because the Bacon family owned it and they built a giant house back in the day. And when you're driving on 850 in the middle of nowhere and you see a big house, you're like, "What is that?" That's the Bacon House. Okay,
Hold on.
but you have a house with a name, the Rose House.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. All cool.
Hold on.
What do you think? That tree's got to come down in the backyard, right?
Yeah, that definitely does. That definitely does.
It's
But
it's a nice. I feel bad, but like it's just a 150-year-old too big a tree.
mhm. It's a liability, is what it is. It looks cool, but when a big storm comes through and blows a branch off and it falls through your roof, it's not going to be that cool.
Yeah, it ain't gonna fall through his roof. It's gonna fall through my roof. It's gonna land. It dangles precariously right
That
over
is
the guest
his
house.
roof. That is, I mean, technically, that's still Emil's roof. The one over your head.
Yes, it is. It is his roof. Unfortunately, I'll be the one they pull from the rubble.
It's going to look like the Wizard of Oz. Pugs' feet are just going to be hanging out the bottom side of the house.
And
Like the Wicked Witch got dropped on.
Should have trimmed it. Yeah.
Ironically, I'm the one that doesn't want to see that happen to that tree. I mean, I understand the necessity for it. I understand that the tree is a bit overgrown, but that is one of God's great masterpieces. And I don't know, can you just take off the big giant arm that's precariously hanging over the top of the guest house? Because it's gonna destroy the entire garage structure at some point. That arm of the tree probably weighs 2 tons. It's just gonna come crashing through.
Yeah, I don't know.
And James, you couldn't see it because it was dark, but it's held in place now by cables and stuff. Like at some point, somebody went, "Yeah, that thing's about to fall. Let's just rig this up."
I did not see the cables.
Yeah, the cables.
Yeah, there's a cable like drilled right through it. The way they do trees, they put like steel cables through them.
I'm sure the cables are designed to make you feel a bit more secure. They do the direct opposite for me. They make me feel like somebody knows something, and the guy who sold the house was probably like, just whatever, make it look good. That's what I imagine.
All right, and what was the name of that show you introduced me to about the vampires? What We Do at Night?
Is that what we do in the shadows?
In the shadows. Damn it, I couldn't find it.
What We Do in the Shadows. FX season 4
you.
Coming. Can't wait for it. Okay. I don't know. Did you send me a script? Did you? You
I sure did. Focus, please.
God. Dude,
damn it.
You sent me a script like 3 minutes ago.
I know. I was late.
Like I checked just before we went on the air.
Blame.
To see if there was a script. All right. We like to start each and every day with a little bit of a monologue. James works super hard on it. And by that, I mean he just steals it from somebody else. And here we go. Okay, why isn't it clicking? There it goes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome in to the guest house lounge, the global sensation, the man of mirth, the merrymaker himself, James Hamilton Parker.
Oh my God, you're so nice. You're so kind. Today's December 7th, which means only 18 more smash and grab days till Christmas. Come on, you don't love those stories?
You can't
about all the people that go to like Louis Vuitton and they punch through the. Thank you. I love those stories.
You can't start with a short joke punchline like that because the first one is always going to take me a couple of seconds to get the right sound effect.
Because you don't have a proper freaking sound effect soundboard, and I don't know why you're fighting this. It's like children, dude. Bruh, you're going to be very happy once you get a proper sound effect soundboard. I can send you one. It'll be fun.
Isn't that the Price is Right sound effect?
That is the Price is Right, the fail sound. Yeah, that's the Price is Right too. But all right. So CNN fired Chris Cuomo. Did you hear about that over the weekend?
We did.
They're feeling the backlash though. Huge response here. Yesterday they received a call from an angry viewer. Only one of them. And then...
Hey, by the way, they are filling. I don't know who they're going to get to fill Chris Cuomo's spot, but tonight they had Michael Smerconish, who I like. I like Michael Smerconish.
Oh God, Michael. Oh man,
what's your problem with Smirk? What's your problem with the Schmirker?
Look, I've worked with a lot of these guys, especially in New York City.
Doesn't that ruin it for you when you know these guys personally and they turn out to be kind of like pricky?
Yeah, like he filled in for the show I worked in on Sirius, and he gave me the whole spiel. Because we had him on as a guest a few times, and he was okay. We know who he is, like politically, and that's all right. We don't care.
He's a very big name in Philly, but he seems to think he's a very big name everywhere.
He was one of those guys. He's like, I was like, aren't you like kind of a liberal? And he's like, well, I don't know if you can put me in a box. I'm an issue by issue guy. And,
dude, he was a conservative. He was a staunch. Yes, he was back in the 90s. He absolutely was. And then
but I'm talking. This was like 2006, and so he's giving me this stuff. And it's like, look, it's okay, like if you're a liberal, but the people that can't admit they're liberals because they think like I will be mad at them or something, or they just don't. They want to pretend like they're like these neutral. I just call it like I see it. I'm just calling balls and strikes. You can't fit me in a box. But like on every single issue that comes out, on 90% of the issues that comes out, he is left leaning, and it's okay. Just admit what you are, and it's okay. And he's one of the guys like, no, I'm a moderate. I'm a neutral. You know, I
Yeah,
just
no, I think
issue
he's
by
pretty
issue.
moderate. I think he's pretty moderate.
Okay.
I think
No.
he's true. I mean,
Look,
but you're coming from you were booking him on a far right talk station. I
well,
mean, that's what you
you
guys
can
are.
say far right, but you can also say that if you agree with the left wing ethos on 90% of the issues, it's okay to be left wing and it's okay to admit it. And the ethos that eschews labels is still an ethos. It's not like, well, you can't label me, so no, you're saying I can't label you, but I most certainly can.
You can do whatever
Anyway.
you want. The individual can, yeah, consider him to be whatever he is. But I would say that in the grand scope, in the landscape of the wide-ranging right and left, he's definitely in the middle.
Okay, so what if I showed up and I was like, I'm in the middle. You can't put me in a
No,
box.
no,
You
no.
most certainly can.
No, dude. You're middle right. You're not far right.
No,
You're
I'm decidedly libertarian, and that's okay. And
that's what gutless right wingers call themselves. 'Cause
well,
they
no, that's not look, gutless right wingers. Look, I want prostitution to be legal. I want drugs to be legal. I'm okay with gay marriage. In fact, I advocated it long before the Democrat Party did.
You're a
Libertarians,
social progressive. That's what a lot of libertarians are. Social
right? And I'm
progressive.
also actually a fiscal conservative, which most
Yeah,
Republicans aren't. So, like, I have very little agreement with either one of you buttholes on either side of the spectrum. No offense to you or Emil. I'm just
no, I know
saying.
what you're saying. Yeah.
But like, not only can you put me in a box, I'll tell you what box I belong in, damn it. And for these people who are like, well, I'm just an issue by issue guy. No, you have an overarching worldview and it fits on the spectrum. And just damn it, admit it. It's okay. I hate those guys. I hate those guys that pretend like, well, you can't tell what I am. No, I can tell.
You can,
Well, but what if putting yourself in that box you think hurts you?
See,
Like,
that's perfect. I love this discussion. Because it does hurt you, but you need to own it if it hurts you. If you have a worldview, you
yeah,
should
well,
be
no, but I'm
you're
saying
cowardly if you don't.
that if you find yourself on the left in most of your thought processes or on the right with most of your thought processes, I don't know that you're necessarily a righty or a lefty. You're just following what you feel to be right. And so the fact that I find myself on the left more often than I find myself on the right, I guess I would say, okay, I'm a lefty, but I can also see why if I were worried about my income, I might say, no, I don't want to be put in that box. I just want to be looked at like that I make decisions issue by issue.
You just said something very interesting, which is you said that you think, and James, you said the same thing, you think and take the issues one at a time. What I dislike about the current scope of things is that I believe that there are way too many on the right and way too many on the left who do not think at all about the issues. They're just pledging allegiance to a team. They have decided the team that they want to be on. And therefore, anything that team says goes. But you just said it. You think you are. You're all over the board on everything, and you take the issues as they come. I try to do that as well. I don't think any of the three of us are pledged allegiance to a team. I think that, I think most people, that's what I say. When I say there's 15 on the right who are insane and 15 on the left who are insane, and then there's 70% of us in the middle who are either just blindly joining teams or taking them one issue at a time. And when you take one issue at a time, because people are nuanced and complicated, you're not always going to fall in line with whatever the doctrine is of the right or the left.
Well,
To
okay. And so I think if you do take it issue by issue and you then find yourself on the fence, I think in instances
No. I know where you're going, and it's already a cop out. You can't want the government to be bigger and smaller at the same
No,
time.
no, but that's not a main
Or
issue that most people think about. I don't even
but
consider
that's not a main issue
that's not
though.
a primary issue for anybody.
No,
That
no,
is
no,
a
it
primary
is.
issue for people who are political thinkers, and you're a political thinker. Most people do not think in those terms. They
I
just
admit
don't.
it's a little reductive, but you can't want the government to both be more powerful and less powerful at the same time. And that's where the crux of all of this really really lies. Do you want the government to have more power, or do you want the government to have less power? Do you want it to be more authoritarian or more libertarian?
That's what you believe, and that's where you are. And for people who think like you, that's what it is. But that is not what the
It doesn't
rank
matter
and
if you
file
like me or
American
not.
citizen
There's no
considers.
third option. The government gets bigger, it gets smaller. That's it.
Once in some areas, I could see where I think the government has overreach. In some areas, I think the government needs to be stricter, or needs to create more of a mechanism. So you can be on the fence. Overall, I think what you're saying is, do you want more government or do you want less government? But I think if you go in certain issues, I think we need more regulation. And in certain issues, I think we need less regulation. So,
All right, the crowd is getting angry. We're in the middle of a monologue here.
All right, next up. So November's jobs
I
report was
watched 4
disappointing.
people drop off the stream in the last 2 minutes. So
All right,
go,
back to the
James. What do you
monologue
got?
then.
Jesus.
November's jobs report was disappointing. Though the good news is there's a lot of jobs opening up every day in Vice President Harris's office. Kentucky Derby winner Medina Spirit has died. Did you hear about this? The horse that won the Kentucky Derby last year just
we
passed
did
away.
yesterday, died of a heart attack.
Right. The family is asking, though, in lieu of flowers, just send sugar cubes. I know. Equine heart attacks are not fertile comedy ground. I got it.
When's the last time you saw a sugar cube?
It's been a while.
Probably like the late 70s at my grandma's house.
Right.
That's probably it. Are they a thing still?
I haven't seen them in since the 70s.
Yeah. So
no, I know where I've seen them. Mostly.
Get a sugar cube update. Is that what we're doing in the middle of the monologue? We need a sugar cube update.
No, dude. England and Ireland. That is, I remember building a little thing. We were in a restaurant, and we were having breakfast, and I built a little wall with sugar cubes, and I vividly remember that. So this is going back 15 years, something like that. More than that, probably. I would go 17 years. And no. When did we go? 2008.
Does it matter? It's the monologue.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. But I'm trying to think of how. Yeah, because he said when was the last time. So I was trying to think of when exactly it was. So it would have been 2008 in Ireland. And I remember I was in a cafe, a little restaurant, having breakfast, and I built a sugar cube wall. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, we don't have sugar. But I guess in England and Ireland, where they do a lot of tea, sugar cubes.
1 lump or 2.
It's still the way they do it there, just not here.
Can I continue with monologue now?
Well, yeah, but we were asked a question. That was a good
no, that's a beautiful aside about your sugar cube experience in Ireland. Okay, according to
you asked. We don't use them here, but apparently someone actually did ask. James, continue your stupid monologue.
All right,
terribly.
According to the WHO, the World Health Organization, this once rare skin rotting STD is back and it's spreading like wildfire. And even so, ABC said they're going to go forward with the season 26 of The Bachelor. According to a new report, 2/3 of all Americans. Now, just let it go, man. Just let it go. There's a bachelor joke, STDs. We all get what that's about. They're whores. We get it. They're whores. All right. According to a new report, 2/3 of all Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. The other 1/3 of Americans are living off the 2/3 who are living paycheck to paycheck. I thought that would hit home because of YouTube. I thought that would because you're living off of Amel and it's like the 2/3 and the 1/3, right? I was trying to hit close to home.
Yeah, I don't get a paycheck though.
Yeah.
Damn it, Amel. All right. On this day in 1963, this is monumentous in sports history. This was the first time instant replay was used in a football game.
Talked about it today on High Noon.
Oh, did you? This is look. It happened during the Army-Navy game on CBS. Before then, though, the controversial plays they had to be reenacted, so they would go and try and.
People had to think about that one.
Yeah. They're like, wait, was that a joke? That's so not funny. It doesn't even seem like a joke. I got you there. All right, and finally. Did you see this gross new interview with Madonna where she says she drinks her urine from time to time? This has health.
She is still trying to
benefits.
be edgy, isn't she? She's
Yeah,
still trying to be edgy.
but she says it still tastes better than Coors Light. So.
Oh, his name is James Martindale Parker. Hi.
Worst beer ever is any IPA. Can I just drop another hot sports opinion on you? I'm tired of the people throwing out IPAs constantly like it's actually a legit beer. It tastes like crap. It tastes like a rosebud blew up in my face. And I think everyone that says they like them pretends to like them. IPAs
A
suck.
rosebud? What's wrong with a rosebud?
It
James, hold on.
smells great, but go lick it. It's like licking perfume. Perfume smells good, but go
James.
lick it.
James, I need you to do something for me. I need you to ball up your fingers into a fist. Okay. Can you do this for me? Okay. Now I need you to aim that fist right at the camera because I'm going to fist bump you on that take. Boom.
Oh, the
Right
IPA.
there. Do you know what IPA is? IPA is horrible beer that was purposely designed to be horrible because it was supposed to survive the long trip from English breweries into India.
India. Yeah,
So
when
they
they were a
made it
colony.
they
Yeah.
made it horribly potent and horribly yeasty or whatever the hell that is.
Opposite of
Hoppy,
yeasty, they made it hoppy.
because
They overdid the hops because it has preservative quality.
because it would come near close to spoiling on the trip. So by the time it got to the troops in colonial India, the English troops would at least have beer, even though it was shit beer. And today, hipsters seem to think and act like it's the best beer in the world. It is a
Right.
fraud. IPAs are a fraud.
IPAs are a chemical anomaly that's supposed to compensate for what's the best beer we could send these guys if they're going to have to drink it after it rots.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
yeah.
What won't kill them? After it rots, what won't kill them? Let's give them this. That's it. They didn't have refrigeration when beer and libations were sent to the troops from the breweries and the distilleries or whatever over there in England, all the way to India on the boats in the heat, in the gross.
Or even when they did it with the railroads, because this was the mid 1800s by the time India was colonized by the British Empire, and so a lot of that was going through railroads over the Ural Mountains or whatever. But the point also
And that's
stands.
why it's called India Pale Ale, because it was
Yeah.
made during the trip.
Yeah, and so the question also becomes like the next beer on the spectrum past India Pale Ale is the sour beers. They call them the Gosas, which I wasn't even aware of until about 4 or 5 years ago. And it's so weird because I have an uncle that lives in Austin. He's like a year older than me, but he's an uncle. Don't make me explain it.
I got one of them. I got an aunt who's like 5 years older than me.
Oh yeah, okay. Look, so I hang out with him. We're
I'm
peers.
gonna go get a beer.
Your grandparents,
Right?
your grandparents were banging late into their.
Yeah. My grandfather cheated on my grandmother and had a love child. If you want.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the painful part of my life. Thank you very much for the section of my family. But anyway, me and him are great friends. He's best uncle ever, actually, the love child one. So I remember hanging out in Austin and they kept having IPAs on the special. And I'm like, what is the deal with IPAs here? He's like, dude, I don't know. It's some trend. It tastes like you're sucking on perfume, or you like someone just shoved a rose bomb up your butt. And 2 years later, they were everywhere. And so I was back in Austin when IPAs were huge. And I was telling him, I was like, man, you told me about IPAs a couple years ago. Now I can't get away from these damn things. I'm like, why don't, if you're so prescient and if Austin is the prophecy of future beers, what's next? And he's like, sour beers. And I was like, what the hell's a sour beer?
Cider
He's like,
beers.
I don't know. They call them Gosas, but like,
Yeah.
that's the new thing here that's driving me absolutely insane. And I'm already tired of them.
The
So,
cider,
like,
the cider beers, the sour beers. The real sour ones, the ones that you said, is a German variety. But
Gosa? Is that
Yeah.
how it's pronounced? Am I pronouncing it
I don't
correctly?
know, but I think there's like yes, that's like the latest.
Gose.
It's freaking disgusting.
Yeah, and so 2 years later, I'm surrounded by Gosa beers, and now I'm starting to freak out because Austin really is about 2 years ahead of the rest of the Matrix
Ugh.
when it comes to the look. Their beer palette is
What the
ahead
hell
of
is
us.
wrong? What the hell is wrong with Bud Light? What is wrong with Bud Light, Miller Lite, Coors Light? What is wrong with the old style light, depending on where you are? What the hell is Michelob Ultra? That, you know what? Honestly, a beer is supposed to be refreshed. Oh God, he's got all these trendy, douchey,
Bruh.
wearing
All right.
beers. What is that? Hot soft pants.
Okay, look.
You
Here's the
can't
deal.
put some Bud Lights in there. That's why I think he's doing it, because he knows that I don't drink that stuff.
I want you to listen to me.
Bud Light and be gone in a week.
Listen to me and listen to me good. You go drink Coors Light, Miller Lite, Bud Light, you're going to be disappointed. But if you go drink the originals of all three of those major breweries, if you go drink a Miller High Life, if you go drink an actual Coors Banquet beer, or if you go drink the Budweiser, the king of beers, and the classic red label,
they're disgusting.
No,
yes, they are.
No, they win awards, and rightfully so, because if you've ever tried to make beer or like had friends that tried to make beer, that's what they're aspiring to, and they never get there. But these guys do it. They do it consistently. And the originals, the Budweiser, the Miller High Life, and the Coors Banquet are exceptional beers.
You're disgusting.
I like the Banquet beer, and I like Coors Light. That's my generally the beer I drink.
How good is the Banquet beer? And when's the last time you've had a Miller High Life? Because that is the champagne of beers.
No, that's what I'm saying. I actually do enjoy and will drink a Miller High Life if they have the rocket top bottles. Those rocket top bottles, like from the 1960s, are really cool. They pour really cool, and the reason they stopped making them that way is because they pour too much. You know, it's like people were spilling it or whatever. Idiots couldn't drink a beer. But if you want to chug a beer, like in a second out of a bottle, you get one of those rocket tops and you do that trick they used to do, like your grandpa probably knows how to do, where you twist it while you drink it. Yeah, and it'll go right down your throat.
Toilet bowl your throat, and you'll be done with it in 4 seconds.
Yeah. Those beers have to be ice cold. They're too weedy. They taste like crackers. I was raised on light beer. When I started drinking beer in the 80s, it was light beer. It was light beer. That's what my palate is accustomed to. So if I'm really thirsty, I'm out there mowing the lawn. Not that I do it, but I'm just trying to paint a picture. You know, I'm out there doing something like that. I come inside on a cold or a hot summer day. I want an ice cold light beer that tastes good. That, to me, to my trend, to my palate, that tastes good. Anything else is just like, it reminds you.
It'll ruin it if you have a Coors Light and then you have a Coors Banquet. You'll be like, clearly the Coors Banquet's
okay. What did you miss about me talking about my palate? No, it'll be the opposite.
No, I get it. I'm just that's the counterweight. That's the other side of the pendulum.
This is the milkshake of beers.
What is that?
Soft pants.
What is it? What kind of beer is it?
Soft pants.
Yeah, but what kind of beer? What is it? A lager, a stout? What is it?
It's a stout.
Stout.
Yeah. Either.
See,
that's kind of like a bourbon / chocolate kind of a flavor to it. Vanilla.
No, you know what practice I really enjoy is the fact that people are putting beer and they're aging it in what used to be barrels for either a bourbon or a scotch. Have you had those?
Yeah, sure. Bourbon barrel.
Yeah,
beer.
I think this is like bourbon barrel, like it's aged in a barrel.
I don't know. I don't know. So great. All right. What do you say we get into a little moment of joy? We do that each and every show. We try to put you in a good mood. How about one for the fat kids? Look at the wrong one, please. All right. What do you say we do a little moment? Take two. What do you say we do a little moment of joy? We do that each and every day here on the show. We try to put you in a good mood. How about one for the fat kids? That's what we call this one. This is, well, come on, get bigger. Oh man, I'm telling you. Look at this fat kid, one-handed, boop! Look at the size of this.
What do you mean? Like that looks like the Incredible Hulk.
This poor kid. This poor kid's parents. Somebody ought to call DCSF or whatever the hell they do here. This kid grew up on boxes of macaroni and donuts. Look at this kid. This kid is the most unhealthy kid. Boop.
What do you mean? Only that, he's like about 3 feet taller than the other kids.
Yeah, and he's also probably, I don't know, 50 to 75 pounds overweight for his size. If he went tall, he should probably still be 75 pounds less. That's an unhealthy kid. Look at this. Right. But it's a funny grab. He's just walking backwards. He's not even slightly concerned about the competition.
I thought this was your moment of joy.
It is. That is my
laughing at him, isn't he?
Right. Like it's Pugs' personal moment of joy at someone else's expense.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a
Hell,
fat guy.
that kid's not watching this show. Well, let's make fun of him all we want.
That kid is diabetes right there. That's walking diabetes. Look at him. Drinks a 2-liter bottle of soda in the. That's a crazy catch, though.
That's
So-
a one-handed catch.
So
That's
since you
Odell
brought it
Beckham.
up, right, and the kid's like 75 or 100 pounds overweight,
Yeah.
and he's tall,
Yeah.
do you think if he was lighter that he would grow more?
I'm not a doctor. Is that something that works? I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I'm just like,
no,
I'm thinking like, okay, you're growing, right?
Yeah.
And you have like 100 extra pounds of weight. Gravity is like pulling you down.
no,
Is that
that's not how that
gravity
works.
stopping you from growing?
I don't
No,
know.
man,
if
that's
how it
based
works.
on like the epithelial plates of your bones, like the very end where the
What?
bone
What? Are you making
epithelial
words up,
plate.
Parker? What'd you say? The what plates?
Epithelial.
It's not a word. It's not a
Okay.
word.
No,
is
it's
a
not a
word.
word. I'm just
Come on.
making
It's
up
a word,
orthopedic.
but my question is, do you think gravity is affecting him during his growing spurt?
No, we have the answer to that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's not based on that at all. There's the only thing it will do, it will make your bones more dense than they otherwise would be, but it has no effect on the overall length.
So
of
what
what
about
your
when
bones
the
do.
Asians wrap their feet like so they don't get big and they keep them in the shoes? They like compact them like that.
Right. Well, that's not based on the expansion of your epithelial
Talking
plates.
about like geisha practices? Like
Yes,
when
they
do-
break they break
Yeah.
their bones and they don't let them reset properly. So
Mhm.
yeah, that will mess up the shape and length of your feet, but that's not based on the
So you,
proper.
you think if you're overweight, it doesn't affect your height at all?
No,
Okay.
no, and I'm 100% confident on that because that's
I
something I've looked up in the past.
Oh, damn it. Why? Why have you looked that up in the past? Why is that specifically something you've looked up in the past?
Dude, I
Is
did
that
a lot.
not-
I did a lot of research on this stuff because remember, like the internet came out like when I was in high school, and I was a late bloomer.
Mhm.
So when you start your freshman year at 5'2",
So
108
you're
pounds.
suggesting you've bloomed. That's
Oh yeah, no, I was a really late bloomer. Like I grew 2 inches after I graduated high school.
grower. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So no. That's just something that I've looked up, and I also found it really interesting because of all my friends in high school, one of them had a dad that was a doctor, and he was also the doctor that when you had to get your physical for athletics at the little dinky school in the middle of nowhere where I went, he was basically the only dad that was a doctor. So he did the physicals. It's just kind of a hookup for the school. And so he even told me, like, before I even hit my growth spurt, he's like, man, you're going to be really tall. You're going to be like 6'3". And like, I cling to that because I was like 5'1", 5'2" when he told me that. And he could just tell by like doing a physical on me. And so it was almost like he did follow-ups with me just to prove that I'm right, just to show me like, hey, you remember how I told you were going to be really tall? Well, here you are. And damn, dude, it was incredibly accurate.
So
My
why are
friend-
most really tall people skin like string beans?
that's not the case at all. You're just as likely
Like
to
most
be
of the 7-footers you see in the NBA, they're like extremely skinny.
Yeah, when they're in the NBA, wait till they retire for 2 years.
Yes.
And then
Yeah,
they're 500 pounds.
You're absolutely almost have the identical likelihood that you're going to be a fat ass, even if you're tall.
Okay.
I don't know.
It does not play into it at all.
I was basically this height in 8th grade. I was projected to be like 6'3", 6'4". And doctor was like, you keep growing, you're going to be huge. And then I like never grew again.
Bro, at the end of my freshman year, when you get your driver's permit, I was only 5'4". So going into my sophomore year, I was a little dude, man, and it was haunting me hard. Like I was so concerned about being a little dude. And I wasn't a big dude until really my senior year, and then after I graduated, I got a couple more inches. So I've not been a big dude my entire life. In fact, I still kind of almost carry the persona of a little guy who has to run his mouth and be extra bombastic just to fit in.
My problem is that I was a big dude early, and then the rest of the world caught up, and I still walked around thinking I was a big dude, even though I wasn't. And that's a problem in and of itself. You're like David Robinson, who grew himself out of the U.S. Navy and right into an NBA contract.
Oh, he was a late bloomer too?
David Robinson was only like 6'4" or something like that, and he grew to be 7 feet tall. He was the admiral. He was in the Navy,
Yeah, he was like
and he was
6'10", right? He ended up being
well
6'10".
7 foot
He
easy.
was a 7-footer?
Oh yeah. And he grew himself right out of the Navy. He was going to be working on submarines, and they were like, "Yeah, you can't work on
Yeah,
submarines.
you can't even fit in a submarine, damn it.
You can't be in a
Have you seen the
submarine, David
portals on
Robinson."
these things? Yeah.
Yeah.
So did he get released because of that? Was like that
Yeah, that was one of the things. Like when he got to, he was a standout basketball player at the Naval Academy, and then he was supposed to go and do his service. And instead, they said, "Yeah, you're too big. You
Hey,
can't."
can I ask you all about the commenter here? Kenny says, "Greetings from Corpus."
Hi, Kenny.
Do y'all know Kenny?
I do. I know Kenny.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Why?
Because if someone's listening from Corpus, I just wonder how.
Kenny's longtime PK listener.
Okay. Okay. So
on
around for us.
Facebook?
he brought
Yeah.
it down. Okay.
Yeah.
We
No,
got
I
somebody listening from Germany.
We got somebody in there from Russia right now.
Oh yeah, I see. They got like the backward R or something
Mhm.
over there. But no, look, have y'all ever been to Corpus?
You sure that's not a bot?
Yeah, no, I'm
We're
positive.
not sure. It might be a bot. It's probably
I'm
Putin
pretty
keeping-
positive it's a bot.
keeping-
Yeah, but I don't care.
Putin's keeping tabs on us. No, but Corpus is like an amazing town in sort of the mythology of what is Texas. There's a few places that Texans have all been there, or at least know someone, or at least know stories about it. And Corpus is one of those places because Corpus Christi is the only place I know in Texas that has a Latin name.
Body of Christ.
Well, you know that because you're Catholic, but most of us are Protestant. We don't know that crap. So-
You didn't know Corpus Christi meant Body of Christ?
Well, I knew Corpus Christi meant Body of Christ because I asked my mom, "What's Corpus Christi mean?" And my mom's family's Catholic, and so she was like, "Body of Christ." Oh, he lives in Garland now. Well, why are you saying greetings?
No. He's from Garland. He's down in Corpus.
Oh, okay.
He's
Oh,
where-
okay,
he's where
okay.
it is.
I get it now.
Yeah.
But no, there's certain places in Texas that have sort of a mythology around them. Another one's like South Padre Island. Now, I've never been to South Padre Island, but from what I understand, it's basically paradise on earth. It's a Caribbean island that just happens to be on the toe of Texas. So, like, you separate out, and it's like going to another country because, like, most
Is
of
it paradise on earth for somebody who's never been out of Texas?
right here, man, that's me.
Because
That's me.
we were at Sneaky Pizza. One of the funniest things I ever heard a Texan girl say.
In Louisville, like
We were in-
Louisville.
We were at Sneaky Pete's on the little gazebo that's on the water, and she's standing there and she goes, "This looks just like the Bahamas." And the guy she was with goes, "She's never been out of Texas."
Yeah, me neither. Me neither. I was like, "This isn't the Bahamas. This isn't what the Bahamas look like. This is
No.
what I'm supposed to see on TV."
No.
Dude, there's a wet
Texas is
t-shirt
beautiful.
contest.
Texas is beautiful in other ways, but don't go for the island paradise route. Go for the Western, beautyscape route. Don't think it's, it ain't.
Bruh.
Yeah.
No,
But
no,
I've never been to South Padre Island either.
Well, like in Corpus, there was a while there where my dad's sister lived there, so we went to visit. And then my dad, he was in the postal union, and so we went to 2 conventions that were in Corpus. And so it's one of those things where I've only been there on sort of a vacation thing, and it's like leaving the real world, but you're not leaving Texas. So it's just the best, man. You go, they have like a seawall, they have a beach.
I don't think Kelly feels that way. I think Kelly feels trapped down there, actually.
Oh my God.
She's right on
Yeah.
she's on one of the islands. She lives
Yeah,
on
well,
an island. She got to
no,
take like a long ass bridge to get to her house over the ocean. Over
Port
ocean water.
Aransas or something.
Like to me, Texas has 2 of probably the worst places that I've exited a plane.
Where? Tell me.
This is
Lubbock.
I've been to Lubbock. I was hoping you'd say that. Yes.
Right?
Lubbock sucks, man. It's like an ashtray out there.
When you get off the plane and you land in Lubbock,
gotta
you are
walk.
like, where is this?
Right.
Like everything is like this shade of like tan brown.
Oh,
It's
Yeah,
hard to
and
it's hard to explain.
It's an ashtray. It's like you are standing
No,
in
you
an
don't like
ashtray.
Lubbock? Did you hang out in Lubbock?
I did.
I went several times for medical related things, and every time I got off the plane, I was like, wow, people live here.
All right, but like when you're there for your sex change operation or whatever you did, Like, the cool thing about Lubbock is, like, all the north-south streets are, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and all the east-west streets are A, B, C, D, E, F, G,
I
and
got
so they
something right.
have the alphabet grid east to west,
They're on a
where the
grid
name
system.
is, like, the name of the street starts with an A, and then a B, and then a C, and
Good for
then
them.
it's from top down. I wish every city was like that because
Big
the
cities are.
addresses I
Northern big cities are. New York, Chicago.
they do that too?
Oh,
Oh, man, I
absolutely.
love that
Yeah.
because I
Numbers go
remember
up as you go north, numbers go up again as you go south, and then there's a line in the middle that is the, 0 center.
yeah, I love that because I remember, wanting to meet some people for dinner, and they said literally, they said, "Go to J8." I was like, "What the hell does that even mean?"
That's great,
And
isn't
so
it?
it was like
Like they
Wow.
were
it
playing
was the
Battleship.
corner of 8th Street and Jennings or whatever the J name was.
If you ever go to New York and you're unfamiliar, and I've been to New York probably half a dozen times. You've been to New York quite a few more than that, I would guess, being from the state of New York. But you cannot, as long as you understand like Lower Manhattan, Midtown, and then Upper
Yeah, but that
Manhattan,
only
and
works
no.
for Manhattan. That only works for the
Well, where
island of
you go? Where else you going?
what are you,
Where else
Brooklyn,
you going to
Queens,
Staten
Bronx,
Island?
Jamaica,
No.
the entire rest of the city.
Long Island is the
But yeah,
suburbs, and you can go out there. But if you're flying into New York as a tourist, you're probably going to stay in Manhattan, I would assume. Maybe nowadays it's Brooklyn, but Brooklyn is also on the grid system. So
I've only stayed in Manhattan, so that's all I know.
yeah, probably Midtown. And Midtown is so easy because the numbers
That's
go up,
where I stayed,
and
yeah.
yeah. And then there's like I think there's 4 streets that go north and south that don't have. That's Broadway, Park. Uh, okay, we'll leave it at that
1,
because
2,
I'm
3,
not all
4, and
that
5.
familiar. But they go
No,
north and
it's
south.
the avenues. It's 1st Avenue,
Yes.
5th Avenue.
Yeah,
It's
and
the avenues
streets
and
go
the
east and
street.
west. Streets
Yes,
go yeah,
right, that's how it works. And
that's the grid
yeah,
system.
that is how you get around in Manhattan, but it's just for a small part of the city.
Grid systems are great. Speaking of,
Wait, Leslie says Phoenix is on a grid system. I
yeah,
hear good things about Phoenix,
most northern American cities are on the grid system.
but
That's why when
Phoenix
I
ain't
moved,
one?
well, no, Phoenix isn't, but Phoenix is like a snowbird
Well,
place.
I just, like, love it because it seemed like the first city I've been to that was master planned from day one, where they
Mm.
just said, "Look, this is what our streets are gonna be. Get on board."
Well, I can tell you in the case of Chicago, they benefited from the fact that the entire city burnt down, and then they were able to rebuild it with a master plan.
Yeah,
I
what
mean
year was that? What year was that big fire?
18,
Like
80,
68 or something?
80 something. Yeah, no, it was after the Civil War. It was 18. I don't know. Yeah, the Great Chicago Fire. But they were able to rebuild, and then they instituted the plan, the master grid plan. Um, I will say this: you were talking about cool ass things in Texas, like place. Do you know a cool ass thing that I was reading about just today, and now I'm just obsessed with it? Do any of you guys know what the 4 Sixes Ranch is?
Oh, yeah, the one from, the one that Yellowstone's based on.
No. Well, oh, maybe. I didn't know it was based on it. I thought the 4 Six Ranch was because in Yellowstone they're in Montana, and I thought it was based on the actual ranch that they shoot there, which is called the something something ranch. But yeah, the 4 Six Ranch in Texas, which is I don't know. I guess it's probably about 150, 200 miles from Dallas, maybe more than that. I don't know. Texas is so big, but I was looking at it. Man, I want to go there. The producers of Yellowstone just bought the 4 Six Ranch for $400 million, and it's the largest ranch in America. And not only that, but just to give you an idea how big it is, this ranch is 4 times the size of the city of Chicago.
Yeah,
That's
we
what.
do that a couple times, like the King Ranch down in Southern Texas is bigger than Rhode Island.
Yeah, yeah. 4 times Chicago is bigger than Rhode Island too. Yeah, Rhode Island is kind of tiny. That's the whole point. Yeah, Kenny is saying it. The Yellowstone. Yeah, the Yellowstone producer and creator. Yeah, bought the 4 Six Ranch with a bunch of other Hollywood investors, and what they're going to do is they're making a spin-off series
Now,
for
are they filming where are they filming this Yellowstone stuff? Is that being filmed in Texas?
No, it's being filmed in Montana, but they bought the
Okay.
4 Six Ranch now so that they could they're doing a spin-off series called The 4 Sixes. And they just happen to have bought the ranch for 400 million, and now they're going to use it as, whatever. But there's like 100,000 animals there. There's it's like the most ridiculous, and it's bulls and it's horses and it's all these longhorns. And I was studying it today. I was watching videos. I'm looking at pictures of it. I want to go there. I want to go there and check this place out. It looks awesome. Obviously, I've recently started watching Yellowstone, and now I want to be a rancher. Now I want to go live out on a ranch somewhere. I don't think I'd actually. That's not true. Sounds like looks like they wake up awful early. Looks like their morning starts.
Yeah, I grew up on a horse ranch. It didn't really stick with me that well. Like, and
No.
I don't want to be a dick about it. Like, you feel.
Do you
really
know how to ride a horse?
Oh my God, yes. Don't be ridiculous. I used to ride in rodeos. I can ride a horse better than any of you assholes that are listening. That's for sure.
Not a contest.
No, I know.
Not a contest, James.
But it's like that's how
You're
it is.
talking to a couple of northern big city slickers. That's not really a win for you.
Like I had like the most glorious ride on a horse for like about 20 seconds.
And what happened? It throw you?
Knock you off?
Like I was actually in sync when the horse was going down. I was going down when the horse was going up. I was going up. Like I felt like I was in motion with it. Like, and that seemed like if you ride a horse and that happens, like that's like got to be a good thing. But like I've went horseback riding, several times, and when the horse is going down, I'm going up. Like I'm always like I don't know how to get in sync with it.
Want to ask me about my horse riding experience?
Yeah.
Sat on a pony once when I was 8.
That's it?
That's it.
Never went on a trail ride?
No, never been
like when I go to these places where they have trail rides, the horse kind of figures out I don't know how to ride it, and then he tries to knock me off and run back to the barn.
Let me tell you a fun fact about me. I have rode more dolphins than I have horses.
Dude, have you ever seen a John Wayne movie where he runs up to the back of the horse and he jumps and
3 dolphins.
He catapults himself off the butt of the horse and then lands in the saddle and goes? Have you ever seen that?
Is that you?
Yeah, that was me when I was like 14. I used to run up to, there's a few horses I could do that too in the back pasture. And I used to do that to freak out my little city slicker friends that would come over. And so
who were the city slicker friends?
How do you get, like, how is it that you figure out how to get in sync with the horse? Like when the horse is going up, you're going up. When the horse is going down, you're going down. Like, how is it that you figure out how to get that motion? Because I had it happen once and it felt like if I could ride a horse and that would happen all the time, I'd ride a horse. But every time it's like, don't.
It's easy. You stand up in the stirrups and then you just follow. Whenever the horse goes up, you go up with it. You're not, the horse isn't sinking to you. You're sinking to the horse. And you really don't even have to think about it. If you stand up and just kind of just relax your knees a little bit, it will throw you up when it's supposed to throw you up, and you'll go down when you're supposed to go down. But you have to catch yourself and not let your butt hit the saddle.
We don't need horses anymore. We have dirt bikes.
Thank you. Like we have gators, we have 4-wheelers, we have big old trucks. I got a Honda Ridgeline. It's far better.
Horses are pretty. Horses are nice to look at. I like to feed them apples. I like to watch them run every once in a while. That's pretty.
Well,
I don't want to have to go places on a horse.
No, it's not that you don't want to have to go places on a horse as much as when you're 9 years old, you don't want to have to spend part of your summer scooping out horse doo-doo from stalls in the barn, throwing it in the wheelbarrow and going and dumping it in the tomato garden while the rest of your friends are playing Nintendo. Yeah.
Well, there you go. It doesn't sound like you had the Yellowstone Dutton family ranch experience. It sounds like
that was my parents. I do not have the horse gene. I did not assimilate to that culture like immediately. Like I wanted to play on computers and video games, and
seems like it would hurt my balls. Seems like there'd be a lot of testicle brutality.
Balls. Don't be ridiculous.
What about your taint? Something's gonna hurt, dude. Riding
your butt hurts at the end of riding.
Yeah,
your butt hurts. Yeah, and your thighs get sore, but it's because you're doing the stand up and catching your weight. And
I guess I didn't catch before I crashed.
No.
Oh, did you rack yourself?
It's not the most pleasant feeling. You're not really racking yourself, but you're hitting that taint area.
All right, how exciting!
No, the fun part's the guns. Like that's the fun part. You're always when you're a kid and you live in the country, you get to carry a gun. That's the fun part.
On a horse?
Yeah, heck yeah, on a horse. What do you mean?
Like the horse doesn't take off when you shoot?
You're not taking shots from the horse. We're not fighting Indians or anything.
Okay.
Let me see here. What do we want to get into today, boys? Let's see here. We got about we got a little bit of time. We don't have to go the full show. Celebrity death reel. Okay, so here's something that I wanted to talk about. I want to talk about racist rock stars. We once did a segment on this show about pedophile rock stars. So why not take it one step further and talk about racist rock stars?
Y'all talked about Gary Glitter? Is that what?
Were you here? We did songs that would no way be passable on today's.
Oh, you mean like she was just 17? You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. Ooh,
There was a lot of that shit that nobody seemed to care about, man. A lot of stuff that we didn't know.
16. You're beautiful and you're mine. Yeah.
But the reason I want to talk about this is because there was an article in the Washington Post on Sunday, and it was a takedown of Eric Clapton. He was trending all weekend because of this Washington Post story. Eric Clapton is he's turning into like a curmudgeon-y old man. You know, he's turning into he's He's anti-vax. He doesn't want, but really he's anti-vax because his concerts got canceled, and he's losing money off the deal. So he's railing about all this stuff. So basically,
why would you be anti-vax if your concerts got canceled?
No, I think
because in England the concerts halls require people to be vaccinated to attend, and if the artist doesn't sign off on it, then they cancel the show.
No,
So
I think you got to throw on top of that. Wasn't he vaxxed and then he got sick afterwards, and he was like, "Oh, well, this is BS. You guys are ruining my concerts for nothing."
It didn't say that in the article, but that's the whole point of this little segment, because this article is wrong. This article claims that the pandemic has caused Eric Clapton to go off the deep end. And that was the whole point of it. Eric Clapton, blah, 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 went off the deep end. And I was like, no, man, are you kidding me? Eric Clapton has always been
been off. Yeah.
He's been off. In 1976, Eric Clapton got up on stage and ranted for like 10 minutes about immigrants, black people, how England is a white nation. He did this whole rant, and it was a big story back in 1976.
And weren't you telling me that horrible thing he did to George Harrison where he like stole his chick and then broke up with her like a year later or something? What was the Layla? That's the Layla story, isn't it?
George Harrison and Eric Clapton were best friends. George Harrison.
Were they best friends?
Yeah.
They're not overselling it.
Yeah. No, they were best friends. And that's how this happened, is because they were best friends. George Harrison's song, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, that's Eric Clapton playing slide guitar on it. Yeah, they were best friends. And so Patty Harrison, George was kind of distant, and he was working on all these albums, and he wouldn't come home and all this stuff. And George's best friend, Eric Clapton, had a crush on Patty Harrison. And so whenever George would go out of town, Eric Clapton would go over and start banging out George's wife. And then finally, there was a situation where George found out about it. And George basically told her, he said, so I guess we're done. She said, yeah. And so then Patty Boyd Harrison went off with Eric Clapton, although she never married him. But yes, what I was telling you about this, Patty Harrison is the woman who has more legendary hit songs written about her than any other woman ever. She's got top hits written by the Beatles about her because George Harrison wrote these songs. Eric Clapton's biggest hits are about Patty Harrison, the woman he stole. Layla is her nickname. Layla is about Patty Harrison. Wonderful Tonight is about Patty Harrison. Bell Bottom Blues is about Patty Harrison. Something, George Harrison and the Beatles, Something in the Way is about Patty Harrison. This woman has moonbeams between her legs because these men have written massive hit songs about her. But yeah.
Does she get any of the royalties?
Nah, fuck that, which is really the best part.
Does she have any talent or musical ability whatsoever?
She's a model. She was a model. She was a hot model in the late 60s.
Just for being beautiful. She is the subject and the muse of a significant chunk of Western civilization pop culture. And she didn't even do anything just based on her
songs
gorgeous
about Patty Harrison. All right, let's see here.
Here's a summary from Songfacts. Songs about Patty Boyd Harrison. For You Blue, The Beatles. I Need You, The Beatles. It's All Too Much, The Beatles. Layla, Derek and the Dominoes. She's Waiting, Eric Clapton. Something, The Beatles. And more.
Yeah, the more our "What Does Love Got to Be So Sad?" Derek and the Dominoes, that's Eric Clapton. And Wonderful Tonight, Eric Clapton. I mean, seriously, imagine being a woman that inspired that.
Yeah, you told me like he stole her from George Harrison, wrote "You Look Wonderful Tonight," and then he dumped her, didn't he?
No, she dumped Eric Clapton. When Eric Clapton.
Oh, I thought he dumped her because he was like
No.
going younger in that position or something, like he got bored or something.
No, George Harrison got bored of her. So it was kind of like George Harrison never spoke to Patty Harrison again, but remained best friends with Eric Clapton.
After they hooked up?
Yeah, it was just like George was like, all right, very good then. You can go with him, and then I get to be George Harrison's single, which was probably a pretty good option for, George Harrison back in 1970, right? So, Patty Boyd Harrison eventually dumped Eric Clapton because Eric Clapton was a junkie.
Is she still alive?
I don't know. Let's see. Hold on. I would assume she would be. She'd probably. Why not pull her up, right? Let's see what she looks like. Isn't that what we're all wondering? What is a woman? I'm sorry.
I was wondering about her as a person and a human soul, not necessarily based on her looks. I would never be so reductive to a woman as to judge her appearance.
Here we go.
Well, I'm not judging her appearance. I'm just curious as to what had caused all this.
I'm kidding, Emil. I'm totally judging her appearance. I want
commotion.
All right. Now I think I'm pulling up Bing. Those are the best images. So we're probably going to get a bunch of. All right. Here we go.
This is her now?
That's her now. So she is still alive.
Wow. I thought I'd be looking at the Crypt Keeper. That looks great.
That looks pretty good.
Yep. That'll upend some bands right there. That'll flip over the table.
That's her. That's probably when she was wrecking bands.
Oh, that'll wreck any band. Look at that. Many bands have been lost to a girl that beautiful. Look at that. Oh my God. Yep.
No, her teeth ain't great. She's got them English teeth.
You don't want them perfect. What are you looking for? Perfection, Pugs?
Well, if you're gonna break a Beatles heart and then go off and cause Eric Clapton to become an irredeemable junkie, I'm thinking there should be perfection involved. Whoa. People age.
Right.
There you go.
That's all right. What a cute little girl.
Oh, maybe she did a little bit of movies.
Nah, she's just a fashion. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. She may have done
like a movie photo there.
Maybe, but she's best known as being a pretty big time model back in the day.
Layla.
See if we get some pictures.
Got me on my knees.
Doing the Lee Harvey Oswald pose.
I gotta be honest, dude. She ain't great. She must have a wonderful personality.
Layla.
She's pretty. Don't get me wrong. She's definitely a pretty girl, but she seems, she's kind of petite and young and little. I don't know. I like a lady. She got her teeth fixed at some point. At least according to that one. Yeah.
That looks very modelish.
That one? Or that one?
Yeah. No, that one.
That one, yeah.
Trying to see any pictures of her with the boys. Apparently these are all just... Well, I guess when you're a model...
I like the Lee Harvey Oswald photo.
Oh, there she is with George. There's George.
But she's an American, right?
No, she's English.
Oh, okay. Okay.
James, great question. I honestly don't know. I just assumed she was a British model. But
well, Clapton's English as well.
Yeah.
And so I was
that looks like a funeral photo.
Yeah. That does look like a funeral photo.
That's a cute one.
But if it's an American girl that captivated two Englishmen like that.
Jerry Hall got Mick Jagger all twisted.
And who?
Yeah, who
well,
else?
Didn't David Bowie and Mick Jagger have something between one girl? Angie?
Angie Bowie. Yeah, well, Mick Jagger and Angie Bowie caught Mick Jagger and David Bowie in bed together doing it. Let's see.
Doing what? Were they playing chess or something? What do you mean?
Yeah, well, according to Angie Bowie's book, yeah. Patty Boyd was born in 1944. She's an English model. Yeah, so she was.
She is English. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
I figured it'd probably be some girl from Mahia, Texas, like Anna Nicole or something.
1944, did you say?
1944, yeah.
So she's going to be 80.
Yeah, she's like 86 now, 85,
no.
87. I mean, 77 right now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Emil.
Let's see. Hold on.
Patty Boyd.
Let's see what she looked like when she was with Clapton. All right. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, all right. Look at them. Look at them. Wait, you know what? I wonder if there's a picture of all three of them together. Wouldn't that be fun?
I'm sure there's 1,000.
That looked like a wedding photo. They looked like they were getting married in that one.
Yeah,
a tux on.
Yes, there are a number of these pictures. I didn't know that they were actually married because she was never Patty Boyd Harrison Clapton. She was always just known as Patty Boyd. And yeah, on her Wikipedia page, it says Patty Boyd Harrison. Let's see here. Maybe they did one of those 70s hippie things where they didn't actually file the paperwork. You know? Nope. No.
Maybe that's her and George is standing up at the wedding for Harrison.
She married. Oh, look at this. This is interesting. She married George Harrison in 1966, and they divorced in 1977. And she married Eric Clapton in 1979. So it appeared because the
they did get married.
Yeah, they did get married, but more importantly, George Harrison and Patty Boyd didn't get divorced for like 7 years because the Clapton jump where she jumped to Clapton was like in 1970. So, they were just like, whatever, it's the 70s. Well,
I mean, maybe because of like the amount of money that George Harrison had at that point.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're right. That's like a rich guy move. Like let's just see how this plays out. You and Eric, if you decide to get married at some point, then we'll work through whatever we're doing.
All right. In the meantime, I'll pay you like a monthly stipend of X. Don't dig into my bank account.
All right. In March of 1970, a month before the Beatles breakup, Boyd moved with Harrison to Friar Park, a mansion in Henley-on-Thames. By this point, Harrison's devotion to the Indian spirituality movement, particularly the Krishna movement, had begun to divide the couple. They were also unsuccessful in starting a family, and Harrison would not consider adoption. Boyd resumed her modeling career in defiance of Harrison's spiritual convictions, and in 1973... okay. So I was wrong on the dates. In 1973, she started an affair with Rolling Stone guitarist Ronnie Wood.
No! What?
Yes. While Harrison,
Ronnie Wood, she did a Beatle, Rolling Stone, and Eric Clapton.
Hold on, dude.
That's like hitting for cycle with the.
It gets better. It gets better. She had an affair with Ronnie Wood while Harrison was having an affair with Ronnie Wood's wife, Chrissy. It's high school. This is high school, man.
Well, that just sounds like a wife.
Is Ronnie Wood still married to Chrissy?
Ronnie Wood's like into chicks, like kids.
Boyd said her decision to leave Harrison in July of 74 was based largely on his repeated infidelities, culminating in his affair with Ringo Starr's wife, Maureen. That's right. I forgot about that. George Harrison had an affair with Ringo's wife while they were going through a divorce.
Peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. I'm Ringo, peace and love.
They were just
peace and love. I'm Ringo, peace and love. Have you ever seen Ringo's YouTube channel?
I mean, it just seems like they're acting like their selection of women is so short-listed.
Like there's only 12, right?
Right. Like, I mean, you're the Beatles. You're touring every night. Like, you got to step on your buddy's girl.
Wait, y'all have never seen Ringo Starr's YouTube channel? He starts every video like peace and love, peace and love, peace and love. First of all, peace and love. This is Ringo Starr, peace and love, peace and love. He uses the term peace and love as some sort of verbal acne to just fill the time between when he can think about things to say. And that's another rabbit hole for another show.
Here, let's stay in this rabbit hole. In the late 1960s, Eric Clapton and George Harrison became close friends and began writing and recording music together. Clapton fell in love with Boyd at this time. So Clapton's coming over to George's house, hanging out in his studio. She's bringing tea, and he starts to, get feelings for his buddy's wife. Clapton fell in love with Boyd at this time. In an effort to satisfy his infatuation, Clapton briefly dated Boyd's sister, Paula. His 19...
What?
Yeah. Yeah. So Clapton's like,
so fun.
This is great. Yeah.
So he's banging the sister and then he marries the other sister.
Well,
what's that like at the family dinner?
This is what life's like if you have game, Emil.
No, this
is never had game.
This is what life is. Emil's got game, James. I don't know what world you're living in, but you better back off that
I
one.
just
He didn't have
don't.
George Harrison game.
No, he does
No,
not.
I
He
ain't
does
got
not
that
have-
kind of game, dude.
he doesn't have Eric Clapton or Rolling Stone or George Harrison game. But when you are one of those guys, you can get away with anything.
Well, you might be able to get away with it, but you're then getting married to the girl that you banged her sister.
Yeah. Well, she was a stand-in. He was just waiting for Patty to become available.
I just like that. Just has got
Bruh,
to be
you should've seen his
uncomfortable
sister.
as hell at Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah.
So in an effort to satisfy his infatuation with Patty, Clapton briefly began dating Boyd's sister, Paula. His 1970 album with Derek and the Dominoes, Layla and Other Assorted Love Songs, was written to proclaim his love for Patty Boyd, particularly the hit song Layla. Layla is her nickname. Now, how ballsy is that? It's like, my new album's called Layla. It's my wife's name.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. When you put it like that, that's kind of
Hey,
awful.
wait a second, Eric. That's my wife's name. What are you saying?
I named my new album after your wife, George. Damn.
You get away with that.
Damn.
Like this is like a circle.
They just don't care, man. They were stoned all the time, and I had all the money in the world, and they could have any woman they wanted.
I know. So you choose your guy's girl.
George's
Like
wife,
what's the point in that?
Well,
It's,
because
like,
when you can
weird.
have anything, you want the thing that's taboo. I bet you that is part of it. That it was the only dangerous, kind of sexy
That
thing
has
that
to
they
be
could get
it.
involved in. I don't know. I've never been in that situation.
Look, we
So
have comments from Miss Parker over there. Would you like to read that?
No, go ahead. I'm still looking at the
Layla is French for lay her.
Oh, guys, there's more to these stories. So just sit
Okay.
tight. It gets crazy.
We're in a rabbit hole.
Yeah. Oh, man, I fall down these Wikipedia rabbit holes all the time. Clapton drew inspiration from the story of Layla and Manjon. It was our nickname, blah, 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 Persian, based on a story about a 7th century. Okay, nobody cares about this stuff.
I know no 7th century anything, so go away.
The Persian tale concerns a man driven to madness by his unattainable love.
The old Persian tale. Yeah, because
when Patty
Bugs
Boyd,
are talking about Persian tales
of course,
all the time.
James,
Yeah.
how often do we just talk for hours like schoolgirls on the phone late at
Yeah,
night?
Sassanid Empire and their literature, sure.
Mhm.
Cyrus the Great, I'm there.
Oh.
Darius, all that shit.
When Patty Boyd rebuffed his advances in late 1970, Clapton descended into heroin addiction and self-imposed.
Oh, that's
exile.
why he did it. That's why he was banging heroin. It was Patty's fault. It's not that he liked heroin.
When
It's
she
not that he
rebuffed
liked-
him, he then started banging the sister.
I gotta start mainline. I gotta start booting black tar heroin. That's why.
In 1974, a rekindled relationship between Harrison and Boyd. Clapton again pursued Boyd. So George went off. He's like, okay, whatever. We don't need to be together anymore. And so Clapton then got clean on heroin. And once cured of his addiction, actor John Hurt later recalled that Harrison and Clapton staged a guitar duel over Boyd at Frere Park.
What?
So if I win the
A
duel,
guitar
it's
duel?
like a gun duel.
Yeah,
No, it's like
except it's a
dueling
guitar duel.
banjos.
yeah.
What
the hell?
This is some wild crap.
This is the plot line of Deliverance, just with better music.
Actor John Hurt added, "It was extraordinary. The air was electric. Nobody dares say a word." While Boyd supports this account, Clapton has dismissed its significance. Boyd finally left Harrison on July 4th of that year.
She like
Bruh.
if she decided the winner?
No, look,
Yeah, right?
the
Like, what
significance
do you know
was
about guitar?
dismissed. No,
Like
She
what does
just-
she decide the winner of the duel?
No,
she
they flew in,
dismissed the significance, which means it happened.
they flew in
didn't
Jan
think
Wiener from Rolling Stone, and he sat there like Simon Cowell.
What? No matter what we say or what our interpretation is, we now know that there was a guitar duel between Eric Clapton and George Harrison for this broad.
For a
She
model.
she dismissed the significance, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen. Or
Well, but I mean, did she
That's not
then
how it was
decide
decided.
based on the duel who she was leaving with?
yes, There was a guitar duel, and Eric Clapton won.
She and Clapton married in March. They remained friendly with George Harrison, who took to calling Eric Clapton his husband-in-law. Which I don't. These people are so weird.
That's
Boyd
so
soon
beta.
struggled.
It's beta is what it is.
Boyd soon struggled within the marriage and took to drinking heavily, but these difficulties were masked by her public image with Clapton. He later admitted to being a full-blown alcoholic who was often abusive towards her. That's the other thing about Clapton. He beat his wife. That's Patty Boyd says that. Clapton,
He hit her after all
Yeah.
this. He's gonna smack her.
yeah, right. He's gonna smack. Do you know what I went through?
I went through a guitar
No.
duel with
I
George
wanted a
Harrison
guitar duel
over
with a
you.
Beatle for you.
Boyd left Clapton finally in April of 1987 and divorced him in 89. Her stated reasons were Clapton's years of alcoholism and drug abuse, as well as
Wait,
his
so what's
numerous
Tears in
affairs.
Heaven? Well, wasn't Tears in Heaven with her?
Was
or
that
No.
her kid?
No, was not her kid. She could not have kids. Tears in Heaven was with whoever Clapton ended up with after that.
Oh God, that was
Oh,
awful.
but that kind of cheapens it then, doesn't it?
Yeah. In 2007, Rolling Stone referred to Boyd as a legendary rock muse for her role
Clearly.
in inspiring the music of Harrison, of Harrison, the Beatles, and Clapton.
Clearly, yeah.
With Alan Light of the New York Times describing the Boyd Clapton Harrison love triangle as one of the most mythical romantic entanglements in rock and roll history.
Yeah. That's fair.
Let's see. Roger Cormier, rock critic, similarly recognized her, Patty Boyd, as one of the most important muses in rock and roll history. In addition to Layla, she was the inspiration for Clapton's songs Bell Bottom Blues, Wonderful Tonight. He also wrote Golden Ring for Boyd, blah, 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 blah. There you go. There you have it.
All right, so explain to me the Tears in Heaven situation. That was the chick after Boyd, after Patty Boyd?
Yeah, here, we'll just...
So that
see here.
wasn't it a model? Because when you say Patty Boyd, I just assume like my homeostasis for Clapton was he was with the model.
Oh, you only had one model? Is that what you're thinking?
No, she's a model, and I guess this next chick is a model too. But it was like a 1-year-old or a 2-year-old that like walked off a balcony, and then he wrote Tears in Heaven about the baby. And we all freaking cried when we heard it. Because we all internalized what would happen if I had a baby and it walked off a balcony and died right in front of my face.
I'm trying to find the baby stuff.
And we all feel kind of terrible because we could never write a song as beautiful as that, but we wish we could.
Okay, Clapton and Boyd tried unsuccessfully to have children, even trying in vitro fertilization in 1984, but
how bad is that, man?
were faced instead with miscarriages. That's the same reason George lost interest in her, because she couldn't give him kids too. Remember, we read that earlier.
Well, then she's not a real
in
woman.
vitro back then and
Oh,
in vitro now. I mean, it's
Fuck
like
you, James. That is like one of the worst things you have ever said.
It is, but I'll stand by
What
it
did he say?
because like I married a chick. She's over there making comments right now who just cranked out 4 children without even thinking about it. And so the denigration
That's
is
not helping.
No. The point is is how grateful I am that I never had to go through that, because I've seen family members and close friends have to like struggle and pay all this money and still never have success. And that's one of the things like I'm most grateful for.
So E missed it. What James just said. Would you like me to repeat it?
sure.
I read that they tried Clapton and Boyd tried unsuccessfully to have children, even trying in vitro fertilization in 1984, but were faced instead with miscarriages. I then said that's why George Harrison lost interest in her, because she couldn't give him children. And James said, well, then she's not a real woman.
Dude.
That is terrible.
Where do you come on, really?
Look, I know it's not a popular thing to
You
say,
don't
but I
see
can
that.
stand
You
by
don't
this
see that
clearly.
as being like way wrong.
And his reason for being fine saying it is because he has multiple children and they came very easily to him. That is why he's fine saying it.
It's cold. I
Wow,
will admit it's
dude.
cold.
Terrible.
But listen,
No, that's cold, but there is no reality to that at all. Like
That's
zero.
That is true.
okay, listen.
That is like saying because I have a small member that I am not a man. Watch your mouth. Watch your response. Watch your
Or that's like saying if you're unable to produce sperm that are alive, that you're not a man.
Look, it's not as awful as it sounds, but
No, it
when you
is.
take
It's
it
very.
in the full
It's probably
context,
more awful than it sounds.
I
actually.
know, but listen, when you take it in the full context, the single
No, there
prime
is no full context
There
of it.
is!
That is the context.
There is, damn it. And the full
What?
context is the prime directive of every living being that's ever been on planet Earth is propagation of the species. And if you fall short of that goal, then look, I feel sorry for you, and that's fine, but you fall short of the goal. Like the goal is the whole reproductive process. And I'm not saying there's
Okay,
not
I
a
we can
mean,
move on.
okay, I
We can move on.
no,
We
no,
can
no,
move
no.
on.
We can't move on. Like
Go
if you go biblical, okay, to
Yes.
like hundreds of years ago, if you didn't have a child, you kind of wore that as a flag of dishonor. If you were unable to bear children as a woman, you kind of wore that as a flag of dishonor. But that never meant you weren't a real woman.
Ask Henry VIII. What
Okay, the man who chopped his wives. James is using as his point of reference a man who murdered his wives. That's okay. That's where we're at.
I mean, in back then it was more so because your role as a woman was to raise children and to then have your children
Yeah.
later on in life take care of you.
Yes, and your role as a man is to be able to sire children. I look.
So would you say that a
But
man
we're
who's-
not there
Hold on,
today.
wait a second. Oh, let me ask you. Would you say that a man who is incapable, like if it's sometimes it's the man's fault? Like what if it was? We don't know that it's her fault. What if it was
Yes,
Clapton
thank you.
Harrison's fault?
Yeah, this isn't an anti-woman screed. This
No, but what if a guy can't get a girl pregnant? What if his sperm doesn't work? Is he
Look,
not a man?
Well, what you're secretly stumbling upon is my greatest fear. Like I wouldn't be able to deal with that if I wasn't able to just crank out 4 kids just by.
Yeah, but you also said that if you weren't able to get a hard on because you were put into a chair,
I'd kill myself.
you'd
Yes.
kill yourself.
Right.
Yes, he is. He's consistent. He's
Yeah,
consistently
I'm
awful.
consistent. Look, and I understand it's incredibly shallow, but the math
More
is
than that.
no. I'm just saying that the math is incontrovertible. That this is the prime directive of every living thing that has ever been on planet Earth, even from the most simplest sponge to an amoeba to even the advanced primates. Like the propagation of the species is the point of all this. And I look if
But
I hadn't been able
you're
to
a
crank out
real
kids,
woman or you're a real man, not based on your ability to create other beings, based on what you have genetically.
Oh, I guess you're saying that Caitlyn Jenner ain't a real woman.
No, well, she started out as a man.
Come on. We'll move on. It was a hot take that landed. And I'm telling you,
Listen,
I appreciate the occasional hot take, even if I do find them repulsive.
yeah,
I mean, that is just so hurtful to a woman to hear because you're not able to reproduce. You're not a real
Why
woman.
is it a woman thing? It's also
It would be hurtful to a man for you to say to a man.
and it should be. And I would be devastated. I would probably have killed myself. Like I take it that serious.
So you're saying that a woman who can, you know what? I'm not going to get sucked into this. Let's go. I want to talk about what a racist piece of shit Eric Clapton's been forever. This isn't. We went down this bunny hole.
Eric Clapton's racist?
Yeah, that's how this whole thing started. Yes.
No, that wasn't a race thing. Was that a race thing?
No, we're setting the bar to show that in addition to being a racist, he is also a piece of shit. He steals his friend's girlfriends, he's a drug addict, he's an alcoholic, and he's a wife abuser. Those are all established facts. And now we'll get into the racism part, okay? Remember, this whole started because the Washington Post did an article about Eric Clapton about how the pandemic made him a mean old man. And I said, no, he's always been kind of a piece of shit. Let's delve into that. And in doing so, I then discovered this whole whole cool article about all of these rock stars who have done crazy racist things over the past. So
my head is still blown that he said like you're not a real woman because you can't reproduce.
It was a hot take. He doesn't mean
listen,
it. He doesn't
he
mean
does
like,
mean
"You're-
it.
You're missing out on
Can't
a
possibly.
fundamental human experience if
No,
you
you
are
don't
unable to
lean into it.
participate in
Stop
reproduction.
leaning it.
You didn't do anything wrong. You're not
No.
wrong. You're not a bad person.
You're just comfortable just destroying any woman that could be listening who's having a difficult time. That's all.
No,
That's
look,
really what Anal and I
her
can't
fear.
believe.
I share the hollow feeling they must carry by not being able to participate in
You care
the
so much that
fundamental
you
process
pointed it
of
out.
every living thing that has ever existed on planet Earth,
You
down from a single
verbalized
cell amoeba to a
her
human
saddest,
being.
darkest thoughts. You
So
verbalized.
I don't even know how
You're
to
tapping into my darkest fear, is what you're doing.
Yeah,
no,
but
you offered it free of charge.
Your fear has got nothing to do with a woman, though. You're a
All right, we're
man.
good. All right.
All right, look,
We're good.
the prime directive of every living thing that has ever existed
No,
on planet
nobody-
Earth is reproduction.
It's,
And
you know
to
what?
deviate from that is a scary, hollow feeling that I don't wish upon anybody, and I feel very fortunate that I've never had to go through.
Okay, but like you can feel fortunate, but you can stop before you say you're not a real woman or you're not a real man because you can't reproduce.
It is a badge of sympathy that I say that because I know that they are going to have a hole in their soul that can never be filled because human beings, like every living thing, is filled with that instinct.
This is
because then he said immediately after that, that's why the woman I'm married to is a real woman because she spouted me out 4 kids.
Well, it's also in parallel to that is the relief that we never had to deal with the incredibly complex feeling that must come with the ability to not satisfy the prime directive of every living being that's ever existed on planet Earth. We're all built with that instinct, and I'm very grateful that I never had to deal with contravening that instinct.
You offered a cruel hot take, and then you doubled down on it by scoreboarding people who cannot have children by how many you have and how easily you had them.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It was like
perfect, my kids. Like none of them are even like slow.
They're all perfect.
Yeah, no, they're not cross-eyed or mouth breathing. None of them have a club foot. I'm a very lucky human being, and I revel in that. And y'all should feel happy for me.
Well, I don't think you're going to get many people happy for you.
No,
I
don't need them to. I have beautiful kids.
I mean, if your kid has a club foot, you love your kid the same if they didn't have a club foot.
Right, but God loves me so much, and it's so little out of me. He never made me jump those hurdles.
It's not a hurdle. It's something that happens, but
dude, your kid's cool, so you can say that too.
No,
if you had a kid that was limping around or had like,
I have a kid that was in special ed for dyslexia, and I'm not afraid to say that. And we've worked with him, and we've gotten him to the point where he's not dealing with that anymore. And
my kid has rage issues. We have to deal with his anger management problem. That could manifest in real.
But I'm saying, I as a parent, I don't love him. I actually probably love him more.
Dude, stop it, dude. Pugs has described Dom to me, and I would be ecstatic if Dom was my kid. Dude, that
Dom's awesome.
No, but I'm not scoreboarding with Dom here. I'm just
you're not gonna get any sympathy because you have a cool kid that's funny as hell.
No, I'm not saying it like that at all. It's got nothing to do with my kid. I'm just saying, as a parent, I think if your kid has some form of a disability, as much as you may fear that, prior to them being born, you learn to love them actually more because they don't know they have that disability.
Yeah, you know what? I think you're tapping into the same stream of thought that I have going here. The fact that we're parents at all, even if we did have kids that were compromised or didn't live up to the highest of expectations, like I feel so horrible for the people that don't get to participate in that, for the people that want to have kids and they never get to go through what we're going through. Because my kids are flawed. My kids aren't perfect. You know, uh, they they have their shortcomings, but the point that we both agree on is the people that never get to go through this process. I feel really bad that they get to miss out on this because this really feels like an essential, fulfilling part of the human experience being a parent. And
Well,
so,
there's always adoption.
You don't feel any sympathy for no, you don't. You're saying that now to cover your tracks. Let's move on. Let's bash some rock stars.
Well, but I'm saying adoption is another
dude,
whole other option.
adoption is one of the most noble endeavors any human being can undertake because everyone, I don't know that
You
everyone
don't
has.
even love that kid.
No. I don't know that everyone has the parental instinct, but once you do, the necessity to fulfill it, I can understand can be just overwhelming. And for people to have that, and then for them to fulfill that with a child, a genetic profile that is in zero part their own, is one of the most noble human endeavors possible. I think more highly of adoption than basically any other institution we have.
But as a parent now,
That's
I
not
would,
what is with the ricochet? Damn, that did
as a
not
parent
hit.
now, I can
I don't take
see,
you seriously.
That's messed up.
That's what I'm trying to say.
I can see adoption and the ability to adopt clearer now than I could before I was a parent.
Agreed. Agreed.
I don't, it's not because my son came from me that I specifically go, oh, I love him because he has my genes. It's because I've been with him for the period of time that I've been with him and I've been taking care of him as a parent that I've grown to love him like no other. And I don't know that it necessarily had to come from me in order for me to feel that way. Like, I think if I found or I adopted, some child that I wanted to adopt, and that child was without protection, and I was providing that parental environment for him, I think I would learn to love that child the same as I love my own.
No, you're exactly right. It's even a more noble endeavor if you adopt a child because any idiot, myself included, can feel the biological need to take care of this baby that's your own. But to take that level of responsibility and really the pinnacle of love and do it for a child that you don't feel the biological urge to do it for, you're just doing it because the right thing or because you have the shared humanity and this
Can we
other human being that's not even yours and you take that on. Hell yeah, that is
let me
the
just
most
put a little
noble
reality
of
into
human
this?
experience. And
Let,
me and my wife have talked about adopting extra kids after ours grow up
let me
because of
tamp
that.
down this high bar we've all set in the last 30 seconds about love. I have fallen in love with girls I've dated for 9 months. Love is not a difficult emotion to achieve. There is, uh, but the love a parent has for their child is, I suppose it would be unexplainable to somebody who does what I describe it as this. When the baby is born, and Emil, with all due respect, I hope this doesn't upend your argument. It has nothing to do with time spent. I describe it to people as the minute that kid was put in my arms in the delivery room, I felt like a light switch got flipped. I, for the first time in my life, felt something for a stranger the first time I met them that was unexplainable. And I mean, so, love is not the thing. It's something totally different between parents and
Well,
children. It is
yeah,
not
the word love,
calling it
okay,
love.
the
I think
word love
cheapens it.
is probably an understatement in in
Yes. In
in
the parental realm.
in the
Yes.
parental realm.
Yeah.
There's a weight and an obligation that's put on your shoulders that you feel like, okay, you might not have gotten this right, dumbass, for as long as you've been here, but you need to start getting it
But check
right
this part,
now.
right? Let me ask you this. Would you give up your own life for your child?
Of course.
Yeah, so would I.
There's
That's not
zero
even a
doubt.
question. That is
Like
not
I
even a question.
remember when the nurse gave us the kid and said, okay, you can leave the hospital. And I got the kid in the car and
Nobody's coming with us,
I was driving home and I was like,
right?
this was the most strenuous drive
Yeah.
home that I had ever had in my life. And I
Checking
was
the
going
rear view,
from
right?
Medical City to downtown Dallas. I had previously driven my wife from, where was it that we went to? Chick-fil-A
Mm.
to the hospital before she was going to deliver. And I was, when we get there, we get there. The minute all of a sudden that kid appeared, I was like white knuckling it from the hospital down to downtown. The whole 2 drives, the drive in and the drive out, were 2 entirely different thought processes in my mind. And so, yes, exactly what you're saying, Pugs. But I think it's that same. I think you're going to get that same emotion if the judge signs the papers and, okay, you now are in charge of this young human being. I don't know. I mean, yes, it seems significant because it
can see
comes out
that.
of your wife and this, that, and the other. But I think the obligation of having to take care of somebody that's a lot younger than you, that can't make their way through the world, falls on you in a way that you just, it's almost, I mean, I hate to, and I'm not taking it here, but it's like, it's the same way really with, if you're a good pet owner, that pet becomes a family member. You do for that
I
pet.
mean, it ain't the same thing.
No,
Yeah, but
it's
I know
not
what you
times
mean.
1,000, but
An
it's the
adopted
same
child is
arena.
not the same as
No,
adopting
it's not the same, but it's
Yeah.
the same process. It becomes a family
Part of the
member.
family.
Nah,
There's
look, no,
Yeah,
and look
I
what you.
love dogs, but I've never had a dog that I think I would. Yeah, I get what
It's the
you're saying.
same.
no,
All right.
but you would put yourself in financial ruin to save your dog.
No, I didn't. I was given that choice, and we put her down.
I mean,
I was facing $2,000 for a cancer treatment, and I said, she's 13.
Yeah.
And
Look,
she's had a good run.
well,
thing
at
is,
that point, okay. I mean, a little different, but
It is. It's very different.
if she was 2,
I find it interesting
Yeah.
the likelihood that you are unable to have a kid, the Venn diagram that overlaps with that of people who have kids but are incapable of raising them almost fits perfectly in the fact of, the universe, whether you believe in God or not, the universal scheme that kind of overlaps perfect to where adoption is the incredibly noble societal pickup sticks of catching these babies that fall through the crack. Because even if everyone behaves perfectly, there's going to be some mom and dad who
As
get
long as they're American.
yeah, stop it. But look, there's guys who are
On
on
the
their
other
way
side of
home.
the Rio Grande. Fuck them. Okay, go ahead.
There,
Continue.
there are people.
hold on
There,
one
there are
second. I'm not
parents.
cutting out here. Hold on.
Yeah, there are parents who are on their way home from work tonight, and they're going to get T-boned by some drunk driver who runs through a stoplight and kills them. They didn't do anything by any fault of their own, but now their kids are an orphan. And
Hi. That happened to me. Hi. Yeah, I don't know if you know who you're talking to, but yeah, that happened. That was my dad.
yeah,
Just
so
random death. We're not. My entire life was overturned. Raised completely different. My life experience has been completely different because of that one random incident. Yeah, you're right. But
Yeah,
luckily, it didn't happen to both my parents.
and so conversely, in the universe, there is some parents that had a young kid that got hit by a bus, or they're trying to have a kid and they can't, and so there's a hole in their life that gets filled by, and just mathematically speaking, the better we can do to line these people up, the better the shared experience that is almost more perfect than having your own family. And the fact that you have a hole that you and your wife could not fulfill biologically speaking on your own, and you accept the extra baby that came from this other enterprise that didn't work out perfectly either. And so the mismatch, like the sort of the island of misfit toys that comes together, makes adoption like one of the most beautiful things that should be more promoted and more celebrated in this world. Because the fact that I had 4 kids with my wife and it was so easy scared the hell out of me to think, what if we couldn't have every time we wanted to have a kid just crank out a kid like that? Like, where would we be? Devastated. I know I would be devastated. And the only thing that could fill that hole would be adoption.
Okay. Are we good? Can we move on? I think we've done an adequate job on this topic.
If you've listened to the last 2 shows, we have definitely found our crossroads.
Yeah, I don't really want to go into now the racist thing because that was a fun bit, and I feel like we've been really serious. We've only got like 15 minutes, and I don't want to rush it because it's we could delve into all of these. The whole bit that I had planned was that we were going to talk about a whole bunch of legendary rock stars, and then we were going to pull quotes that they had said to either Playboy magazine or something like that at some point that
There's a bunch of racist rock stars.
Yes, there's a whole bunch of them.
Let's go. This sounds great.
David Bowie made an entire album posing as a racist fascist, and people were just like, "Oh, that's just Bowie."
Wait, Ziggy Stardust was a racist?
No, the White Duke. His
another one.
Yeah, yes.
What are the songs from that? Is that like White Lions? Because that sounds kind of racist.
No. The Thin White Duke was. I want to say it was after Ziggy Stardust. Hold on, let's see what this is. All right, I'll just read.
Was this like pre-Labyrinth?
David Bowie, Thin White Duke. David Bowie would create personas.
The Thin White Duke was the persona and character of the British musician David Bowie during 1975 and 1976.
Yeah. Okay. So it was then, but in 1975 and 70. So when he would walk around, he wore like a Nazi armband, and he would give like this, and we all just went, "Oh, that Bowie," because there was no social media or anything.
He's so gay, right?
But see, this is why I wanted to do a whole thing, because even though yes, he did that, and he later apologized for it, he said, yeah, you know what? I was just taking a lot of drugs and I was trying to be as provocative as possible. And I was a dumb kid and I wasn't thinking. And then in David Bowie's defense, he worked very hard the rest of his career in the 80s trying to be inclusive and he married Iman. He married a black woman, so I don't know what that says. I guess a lot of plantation owners slept with slaves too. It doesn't mean that they were racist.
Right. Didn't he like smash Mick Jagger?
According to Angie Bowie. Yeah, according to Angie Bowie, she walked in.
I heard that before.
Angie Bowie, of course, the woman that the Rolling Stones song Angie is written about. So, yeah, she had a thing with
Did Eric Clapton have to write a song about her?
I didn't. The Thin White Duke was the persona and character of the British musician David Bowie during 75 and 76. He is primarily identified with Bowie's 76 album Station to Station and is mentioned by the name in the title track. Although Bowie had first begun to adopt the Duke persona during the preceding Young Americans tour and promotion in 75, the persona's look and character are somewhat based on Thomas Jerome Newton, the eponymous humanoid alien played by Bowie in the 76 film The Man Who Fell to Earth. Thin White Duke was a controversial figure. Oh, was it?
That sounds fine to me. What are you talking about?
Due ostensibly to his pro-fascist and racist statements made by Bowie in press interviews during this period. Soon after making the comments, Bowie claimed that they were just theatrical remarks, blah, blah, blah.
Probably so. Do you really think David Bowie's a racist? No one really thinks that.
I think that back then he was. I think for this period of time he was. And he says,
really?
Look, he goes, well, here's what he said.
He was just trying to tweak people and hit them where they're sensitive and they're open wounds.
Yeah. I think he was being theatrical, but I also think that, he's blaming it on, and he says right here, he blamed the erratic behavior during his mid-70s Duke era on the astronomical use of hard drugs, particularly cocaine. So, that was on cocaine.
Excuse. I'm sorry. Hey, Leslie, over there on the comments, I was just on cocaine. That's my excuse. That's why I said those horrible things.
I like how Bowie's. I'm a cocaine racist.
No, I'm not racist. I was just on coke.
There is no such thing.
I'm not racist. I'm just on coke.
The Thin White Duke was a controversial figure. While being interviewed in persona in 75, Bowie made statements about Adolf Hitler and Nazi Germany that some interpreted as expressing
He's not
sympathy.
pro-Nazi. It's freaking David Bowie.
The controversy deepened in May 76 while acknowledging a group of fans outside his London Victoria station. He was photographed making what some believe to have been the Nazi salute. But in it, he's going like this to a bunch of Nazi skinheads.
Someone said, "Hey, David Bowie, how tall is the pony?" And he's like,
Yeah,
"It's
no.
about this tall. That's all."
In later years, Bowie called the mid-70s the darkest
Anyone
days
that like
of my
that?
life. In later years, Bowie called the mid-70s the darkest days of my life due to astronomical use of cocaine and amphetamines. For much of 76, he was obsessed with satanic symbols. He remained awake for days at a time and lived on a diet of red peppers, milk, and hard drugs.
I'm so jealous.
Isn't he like turned into a golfer now?
He's dead.
He's
Right, but wasn't he like the end of his, or was that was
like
Alice
a scratch
Cooper?
golfer, right? He goes.
No, it was
Wars
David Bowie or
to
Alice
life.
Cooper that they started like doing golf.
Eventually,
Alice Cooper's a scratch golfer. Did you know that?
That's what it is. I got him confused then. It was Alice Cooper.
you can tell Emil's not a real big music guy when he confuses Alice Cooper and David Bowie. It's like that's really an indication.
They went and saw Stones in Austin.
Well, I was just thinking more of like they both wear costumes.
Yeah, well,
and they both were kind of their names by themselves, not necessarily their band.
One is an unrivaled genius and the other is Alice Cooper. That's kind of also there. Alice Cooper was kind of a gimmick, and David Bowie is considered a great artist, one of the greats, who was a cocaine racist.
Well, as somebody who's a fan of probably David Bowie and not of Alice Cooper.
No, I like Alice Cooper, but there's only like 2 or 3 Alice Cooper songs. So, I mean, Bowie's got 30 years of
Bowie's bigger than
come on, the discography. It's not fair. It's not fair.
No, I mean, granted, David Bowie's a lot bigger than Alice Cooper, but in terms of like when I think of costume rock stars, I think of Alice Cooper, David Bowie, and Gene Simmons.
No, I Kiss in general. Yeah, I wouldn't put. I would put David Bowie in a different category than costume rock stars. David Bowie was a performance artist who also happened to write really good music, and so he was able to pull off his performance art backed by music, as opposed to just being weird to be weird's sake.
What do you think about Kiss though? They're performance artists with a lot of songs.
I think they're showmen. I think they're like a carnival act. I think that what makes this whole thing, Bowie the cocaine racist, the Thin White Duke, Ziggy Stardust, then he becomes the man who fell to earth. I mean, he adopted a completely different persona for every different album that he wrote. Kiss stayed the same. They were monsters and demons. It was like they were appealing to 12-year-olds. Bowie was appealing to 20-year-old art students. It's like just a whole different kind of thing. I like Kiss. Don't get me wrong. I love Kiss. Kiss is a fun band, but Kiss has never written a song that has made me cry. David Bowie has. There's just a different level.
I thought he was a little fruity.
He was. Yeah, that wouldn't be incorrect.
Part of the charm.
Yeah, part of the whole cocaine racist motif he had going on. I don't know. I like
the motif. I love that.
Cocaine racist motif. A little fruity, but also
little Nazi, little fruity, little Nazi.
Little naughty,
he's on
cocaine
both sides of the
racist
spectrum.
Little fruity, but also in his wake, an unbelievable and really impressive list of women. I mean, David Bowie had crazy top shelf women.
Dude, y'all are gonna think I'm insane, but my experience with David Bowie is I just happened to be the perfect age where I saw him in the Labyrinth first, and then I was shocked that the protagonist or the antagonist from the Labyrinth made albums. I was like, really, the wizard guy?
So you thought
the guy that was doing the like marble back and forth on his hand in the Labyrinth, that guy makes albums, and look, they're not bad. Like he's not just some actor that tried to cut an album. I think this guy's actually a pretty good musician. Like,
he's fantastic.
Know,
Life on Mars is probably in my top 3. I'd really have to think about it. Greatest songs ever written. And I'm not even, I don't even put Bowie himself in my top 5. I don't even put Bowie in my top 10. But as far as individual songs, you got A Day in the Life by the Beatles, Life on Mars by him, and I'd have to think about what the third is. I mean, he's an unbelievable songwriter and performer, and just, I'm gonna listen to Life on Mars too.
No, and Leslie, the androgynous guy who can steal your wife is not David Bowie, it's Prince.
Yeah, David Bowie in 1980 could steal your wife too, though. Don't kid yourself.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, David Bowie. Chicks loved David Bowie. Women loved David. Maybe it was the non-threatening cocaine racist. I don't know.
Ask Monique's over in the comment section now.
Not fair. No. You'd have to ask somebody 25 years older than Monique, a contemporary.
Oh, okay.
No, you can't. Yeah, you can't ask a child.
She's 40. She's not a child. She's
who's only familiar with David Bowie as someone her grandpa's age. You'd have to ask a contemporary. That's not fair. You find a woman who is 60 years old and you ask her if in 1978 she'd have left her boyfriend for David Bowie, and she probably would say yes.
Because Prince was still a minor at that point. Stop it.
People. Yeah.
No, look, you're asking a 40-year-old woman.
Are you arguing that David Bowie can get laid? Is that basically what you're saying?
No, I'm asking my wife if she'd rather smash David Bowie or Prince. That's all.
Well, I would think based on your wife's age, Prince.
Right, exactly.
Well, that's amazing.
Even that, all right, look at that. This dude was sharp. He was, chicks dug him, man. He was like a little pretty boy.
He's very effeminate, very soft.
An artist,
Looked like he can't take a punch.
A cocaine racist. He had it all.
Cocaine racist, right?
That haircut there is not getting it.
Well, it probably was in 1967.
That's a little weird there.
That's
dropping panties in 67, but
look at that. That's getting it in 1982, dude. I'm sorry. That's getting it in 82. That's a good looking guy.
I don't know, Monique. If
where's
you had
the one with the star on his eye?
Prince or
Ziggy
David
Stardust.
Bowie?
There's Ziggy. Well, there's part of the Ziggy persona. That's when he was wearing his hair as Ziggy, but yeah, that's Ziggy Stardust right there. When he was, you got to understand, David Bowie created a different character for basically every era of his career,
which is cool.
Yeah, this was Ziggy. This was Ziggy Stardust Spiders from Mars era, which the song "Life on Mars" comes from. And this is late 80s modern love, David Bowie.
See, Monique says Bowie and Prince are in the same category. Now I would prefer you choose one and actually settle the argument, but
this is David Bowie fame era. Fame. That's Davy Jones.
Explain the Dancing in the Streets era. What was that?
Late 80s, he was just trying to sell records. He would never been a true pop star. And by the time these guys get into their 40s, they decide it's time to cash in like a pop star. And you start putting out music that just goes to number one.
So he and Mick Jagger made this. Were they like boyfriends or something? Did they do gay stuff?
According to Angie.
I know, but do you believe that? Do you believe that?
Yeah. I think that was sour grapes.
There you go. There's your Labyrinth guy. There's your Labyrinth era David Bowie.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now that's the first David Bowie I was aware of. And then
Emil, you don't believe that? I totally believe that. The 70s, man, these guys were all like crazy bisexual, into all of these gender bending kind of things. Yes, they were. They absolutely were. So when you tell me, is it possible?
Simmons did gay stuff?
No, but James Simmons wasn't a poppy British pop star. I mean, there's a totally different category of person. No, I don't.
So it's not just an accepted fact that if you were in this little crowd,
Gene Simmons was also never in the league of a Bowie or a Jagger in 1975. They just weren't the same thing. It's a good question, though. Let's ask it. Hold on.
Monique.
Did David Bowie and Mick Jagger have an affair?
Do you think Siri knows this?
Yeah, there it is. Mick Jagger's affair with David Bowie. David Bowie and Mick Jagger affair. I walked in on David Bowie and Mick Jagger naked in bed. I was the filling in the cookie with David Bowie and Mick Jagger. Yeah, these are. They were together. They were. The former bodyguard claims David Bowie and Mick Jagger had an affair. B.B. Buell says that Mick Jagger and David Bowie had an affair. So it's not just in Angie Bowie's book. I mean. whatever. They were doing drugs. They probably didn't know what was going on. They were all jacked up. Can I see your thing? I don't know how that happens.
I don't know. There's no way that that's how that happens. That's
Yeah,
much.
I've done-
see your thing.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I don't know.
I
done
guarantee
more
you
than my
that's
share of
not the
drugs.
line at the bathhouse.
Right. I've done a fair amount of drugs, and it's just never ended up like, oh, I accidentally just started playing with a dude.
I don't know. Yeah, well, again, but we've never been in this orbit. This is a completely different orbit.
I don't.
You can
It's
put,
not the.
you can put
There
David
is
Bowie
no.
in front of me.
When you're on the drugs, you're in the same orbit.
Yes, we're
That's the
also
thing
not,
about drugs. Drugs
we're
bring
also
you
not
to the same
bisexual.
orbit.
We are not bisexual,
Thank you.
but maybe they are. They are
Clearly.
very theatrical.
I
Clearly.
think that is the one thing about drugs that it takes everybody to the same place. Like rich man, poor man, middle class man on drugs, they all end up in the same spot.
And in my experience, that's my hotel room.
Well,
I like what you're saying, E. There's a lot
but
of
I
truth
mean
there.
that
I
It's
just
an
love that you
equalizer.
guys somehow think that Bowie and Jagger couldn't. They're so masculine, these macho guys. These guys are theatrical dancer, singer, performer types. Of course, they're open to that concept. I don't know that it's true, but
and
it is
Amel-
hard to believe.
Yeah, but we're both artists, and we've never fallen.
No,
face
you're
first
not
well,
like
no,
that.
but
You're not-
I'm okay. I'm
literally an artist.
understanding. I'm understanding what you're saying. You're
Yeah.
saying that they have some feminine tendencies to them prior to being on drugs. So when they are on drugs, those fences go down and maybe those tendencies come out. That's what I think you're saying.
Yeah, sure. I guess. I don't
Well,
know.
because you're saying we're not homosexual. We don't possess those feminine type tendencies.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
That's
right.
not-
So-
there's
with
no
that,
way
though, I
those
wouldn't be
guys-
able to resist. There's no way I'd be able to resist that.
There is
Yeah,
no
I
way
don't
that
have a
macho
photo.
man-
I don't have a photo of myself like that for sure.
No, you don't. And you don't. And he's wearing a dress here. I mean, come on. Look at him, little dainty flower. You guys, look at him there. He's wearing a dress.
Culottes? Is that what
Look
that
at him
is?
here. Come on, man. It's not a bad thing. I'm telling you, he was an experiment. They're artists. These
Right.
people are
So they're
creative.
yeah, but I mean, you can be an artist and not experiment like that.
Yeah, just
Probably
because
did
he's English
everything.
doesn't mean he's gay.
Look at him right here. He's wearing a dress with Jerry Hall. He's taking pictures. He's wearing a dress. I'm just saying he's open to anything. Mick, when you've had sex with every woman you've ever wanted, you might be interested in, I don't know, something a little different. That's all I'm saying. I'm not putting it out. I don't judge him. I don't care.
I mean, in those photos, like I think like you're doing that also to further your career. Like you're probably going, okay, how many dudes are going to be photoed in this feminine looking crop top?
What'll make
I'm going to
the
take a
most
picture
art-
like that. And I know that if I'm in a picture like that, it's going to be on every magazine in the world. So I'm then going to push my brand further down the line.
I don't think the Rolling Stones in the late 70s needed to worry about that. Most of those pictures were he was with Jerry Hall in the 80s. So the one where he's wearing the dress, he's already been the largest rock star in the world for about 3
Yeah, but I
decades.
mean,
All right,
you've got to keep being the largest rock star for 50 some years, which a lot of bands have not done.
I'm not going to get into an argument with this. I'm just saying, if you tell me that Mick Jagger and David Bowie queered off together, I'd be like, yeah, I could totally see that.
Yeah,
Not out of the realm of speculation. That's
Um,
all. Now, I know that you, for some reason, think that's a bad thing. And
I
now
don't
you're
think
like,
it's a bad thing.
Well,
I'm
it
saying
sounds like-
it's possible, but I think the other explanation
probable.
is that, she was upset at them ultimately because they were who they
Got a
were.
number of people. It's not just her though, and there's a number of people who are saying, "Yeah, that's true." She wrote it in the book. And by the
Okay,
way,
do I think that maybe David Bowie and
Time out. Neither of them denied it. Neither of them denied it or said it wasn't true when the book came out. The book came out 20 years ago. Neither of them said anything about it. So they all remained friends. This wasn't a hatchet piece. It wasn't like they were like, oh, fuck Angie. No, they all remained. It was all fine. There was no problem with it. So that ought to also tell you something. It's not like Mick went, "That's not true, man." They were just like, "Well, I guess cat's out of the bag."
Well, she said she was the sandwich in between them, so it sounds like they had a threesome.
Multiple times. She, if the book which I read the book back in the 90s. It initially started. She came home early and walked in on them together in bed, and then in the future they had an ongoing threesome menage type relationship, and that's the song Angie that David or Mick Jagger wrote about her. He was obsessed with Angie Bowie. It's another George Harrison, Eric Clapton thing. Again, dipping into the same pool of women. Don't understand why they don't go outside that pool, but apparently that was a thing.
All right, so here's the question of the day. How many children does Mick Jagger have? I just Googled it. How many children?
15.
Jesus Christ. Calm down. Emil?
No, he's got more than 12, doesn't he?
I would say 14.
I saw 8. Mick Jagger has 8 children.
I thought he had more than a dozen. I thought he had more, so I said 15.
Didn't he just have one by a 22-year-old model?
He's got a whole bunch of like kids that are like bastard kids. He's got ones that are, but then he's knocked up people all over. I don't know. Maybe
I thought I just saw that he had one by some 22-year-old or 23-year-old recently.
He's like a high NBA draft pick. He's got kids everywhere.
Sean Kemp beat him, but not by much.
Mm-hmm. All right, thank you guys. That was fun. Good one tonight. 11:01. Anything in closing?
I see he has 8 kids.
James, please take your comment back.
I take all of them back. I
think he's got 8 kids that have the Jagger name. Yeah. We'll leave it at that. I think there's probably a half dozen others that are running around claiming to be Jagger's kid that maybe he's not sure about.
I'm with you. Listen, being a father's greatest honor in my life, and I feel extremely sorry for anyone who hasn't been able to fulfill this primal urge.
They don't want your pity.
That's all.
Okay. That's all. They do not want your pity, right, James? All right, bye. All right, and we are out of here. Have a good one. We'll see you tomorrow at noon for High Noon with me, Pugs, and E, the artist, will join me as well, hopefully. We're going to do the same thing we did yesterday, which is the 12 o'clock kind of solo hour, and then 1 o'clock he'll come on and join me, and we'll have some fun. Okay, love you all. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Spread the word about the show. That's how we grow. See you tomorrow. Far from the comfort nest, I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come. Best to come. Best to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. Wow. Wow! I can smile a little now. Doo-doo. Things are going good. Boop. I always had to be on guard. That is understood. He says it's understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. 2, 3, 4, and I am on a never-ending quest.